Hello everybody, it is I, Cool back again, and today I'm going to be reviewing Kris Revstopski with Checkered Flag. Okay, Kris is a very interesting item to talk about because back in 2017 when Kris first came out, she was just a repaint of Dexter Hoover, which makes sense. In the movie, Kris Revstopski is the Cars 3 flag waver. She replaced Dexter Hoover between movies. Despite this, however, Kris Revstopski was not the right model. In the movie, she's a lot thinner and has a different grill, but, back in the old days of the Cars diecast line, a lot of pickup trucks looked the exact same. There were only a couple exceptions. I believe Duff Rex and John Lasseter were some of the first ones to be a bit different. They were still this wider, truck model, which isn't super accurate to the movie. They're supposed to be way thinner. But Duff Rex and John Lasseter had different, grills and headlights, which was a bit of a step in the right direction. Kris Revstopski, though, is, again, literally just a white Dexter Hoover with eyelashes. Like, she is the exact same design. In 20, I believe, was it 2019 or 2020? When she got her green flag variant, that became the go-to design for Kris Revstopski. It was thinner. It was a lot more movie accurate. And I really wanted to get that version. I planned to in both 2023 when she was in a 2-pack with Maddie McGear and 2024 when she was in a 2-pack with M. Fast Fong. But unfortunately, due to the distribution of those cases, 2-packs in general were doing really bad of those years. I missed out on Kris Revstopski. Luckily, recently, after getting Superfly, I also got her in this bundle. Originally, I was planning on cutting out, but it was cheaper to just get her and just have this. And, I do get to complete Kris with Checkered Flag since I bought Dexter with Checkered Flag at the beginning of this year. Not the beginning, but, around the middle. So, yeah, very interesting. Ironically, despite all of that, this specific iteration of Kris Revstopski with the Checkered Flag hasn't come back from Thailand, and I guess never will because production's back in China, as you can tell by this guy right here. See? 2026. So, what happens now? I don't know. How do I describe this? It's will they ever re-release Kris with Checkered Flag? I kind of hope they do. They already made the other flag variants. I think it's really weird that this specific flag variant is exclusive to this older model. I don't know. I just think they have the chance to, improve. I will say, all right, looking at the diecast itself, and looking at the other versions of Kris Revstopski, I think this one has my favorite expression. I've noticed that all the other variants of Kris Revstopski have very similar looking faces, and that's a really big shame, because Dexter Hoover here, this is a green flag variant, and then this is his Checkered Flag variant. They're, distinct enough counterparts to each other to where I can justify buying both of them. Originally, I was hesitant on Dexter with Checkered Flag, but after seeing him a second time, I was like, okay, he's kind of cool, and also his expression is super different, right? Whereas with Kris Revstopski, all the flag variants look the exact same, and I think that that's a detriment. So yeah, I think this expression is really good. It's really excited. It has a super, it's different from Dexter. I think it's kind of similar to his yellow flag counterpart, but other than that, yeah. One more thing about, updated Kris. Well, actually, no. I'll save that for when I actually get that one at some point. And I know I will at some point. I've seen lots with it. And also, I do want to get M. Fast Fong. So, yeah. The Checkered Flag is just reused from Dexter with Checkered Flag. I would recommend checking my video on him. This copy has kind of loose mirrors. It also had a bit of a sticky top. I don't know why, but I wiped that off with some Goo Gone. Should be fine. I also wish I had Duff Rex to compare her to, because Duff Rex is a very similar pickup truck, like I've said. They're all white. All that. Oh, Brian Park's motor. Brian Park's motor is a similar model to this as well, so that would be cool to compare. Over here it says official, nice red wheels. I always liked that she had red wheels. I think that that's a really good way to make her distinct looking, whereas, you know, Dexter's all blue wheels. I mean, I guess it contrasts with the yellow of the body. Official, let's look at the license plate. It says 8W, oh, it says 8 Wavy 8. All right. I just realized this is like my third pickup, wait, no, fourth pickup truck this year. Oh, wait, is that intentional? Yeah, the flag is like weighing it down, so it kind of looks like it's moving like this. I don't know if that's intentional or if that's just this item is extremely worn out from the years of play. I did get it secondhand, and you can see it's kind of chipped, so could be that, but I think it would... Let me check this guy here. Okay. Yeah, no, green flag Dexter doesn't have that, so I think this is just... The item is kind of worn and torn from being a much older item, right? Because this was last year. This is 2017, I think. Let me actually flip the base. I'm calling it that this is the 2017 version. Oh, actually, I think this is the 2018 release in a 2-pack with Pat Traxon, who I did get this year. Because it says 2037, so that's really late into. Unless it's... It could also be like the one with the collector card, because I know Kris came with a collector card. I think it was the same one as Pat Traxon, where it was like a Florida 500 card. It's really nice getting more Florida 500 diecasts. I think the group of cars is extremely underrated. I hope to get more of them. I'm even considering getting Cars 3 Bob, even though I'm not really a big fan of his design. I think it would be cool just to have another variant of Bob Cutlass. So like I said, there's the flag. She's not supposed to have her mirror wave around. That's just, again, this item being all worn and torn. I already showed the base. I like that the Cars 3 staff members have like way more of a sleek sort of look to them. I think I do prefer the yellow and blue of Cars 1's pit crew. Like, not pit crew, but, you know, staff members, just because it's a bit more distinct, whereas this is a lot more generic, but... I think it looks good in its own right, and I think it stands out from the Cars 1 guys. Like, you can't really mix up Kris Revstopski with Dexter Hoover, you know? Yeah, I'm noticing a lot of red and blue, which is on the original Piston Cup logo, so I think it's really interesting that that's sort of where they got their, you know, idea to be like, hey, how do we make our Cars 3 staff members distinct? So yeah, there's Traxon. Honestly, Kris looks really massive compared to... Pat here. Very interesting, very interesting. And then, of course, Morgan Martins, who came out again this year. Does Morgan look in scale with Kris Revstopski? Because this was before they realized that, hey, we got to downscale deluxes, because this was back when deluxes were, you know, still kicking. I think 2017 is probably where deluxes were in their prime. Because we were getting a lot of, like, new items for Cars 3 and, like, so many, like, iconic deluxes. And probably some of the rarest, too. Like, Stu Scattershields. I don't even need to, like, explain. And then here's Adam Rodriguez, who does technically appear in Cars 3. You know, originally my plan was to take this and turn this into the Rev and Go crew chief, but... I might keep this for a while until I get the updated one. Then I'll probably consider, you know, customizing it. But for now, I think it's good. One last thing I want to do. Watch this. Check it, guys. I own Kris Revstopski with green flag. For context, I looked it up online. Kris Revstopski with green flag goes for like $30 or something, and I have no clue why. My guess is because she was released during a certain period of time that prevented a lot of collectors from being able to get her, and I don't think she was in too many cases, so Kris with green flag, as well as being the first updated Kris, led to her being one of the more expensive Cars diecasts. Not super expensive, but like $30 for Kris Revstopski is insane. One last thing I'll do is, again, quickly do a side-by-side comparison with Dexter. I believe her eye plate is a little bigger. I'm not entirely sure. Official text is, I think, the exact same. No, it's like a different font. Okay, I thought it looked the same. Actually, I forgot that Dexter also had official on the back of his truck bed. Yeah, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting here. Yeah, so I think Kris Revstopski in general is a pretty solid item. Again, I do prefer the updated variant. I like that they kept it so that Dexter is the original Legacy model, but they updated Kris, so it kind of feels like they, like, in a way, wanted Kris to be more distinct from Dexter Hoover, which I appreciate because, you know, sorry, I had to change the lighting. Kris is a different character, and I think, helping emphasize that is really good for, the diecast line, because it means there's more of a justification to getting both of them, whereas before it's like, do I really need two flag wavers? Right? Like, I like that the Cars 3, again, the Cars 3 Piston Cup members all feel super distinct from their Cars 1 counterparts, and then, we got ones that don't have Cars 1 counterparts. Like, there was never a Cars 1 ambulance, or there was never a Cars 1 race fire truck. There were some, like, tow trucks, I think, or there were, like, some sort of, like, SUVs, but those never got die-cast, so for the most part, overall, I think Kris Revstopski is a very solid item. I would recommend just going for the updated version, but if you ever find yourself with this copy, I don't think, you should knock it. It's very interesting owning an unupdated version of an item, since I typically try my best to save up for just the... Hold on, I really gotta cut here. Figured it was fitting to remove her flags. But yeah, as I was trying to say, I usually try to just get the, like, most up-to-date or, like, most consistent version of a Cars diecast when applicable. For example, I've been buying specifically the small Fred variants because I know that's where the majority of Fred's variants are. I don't really see a point in getting large Fred or Rotor Turbowski. Although in his case, I'm not as sure anymore. I think the new China one's pretty good, but I would prefer to just get the deluxe version for consistency. That's the main reason I do it, is just consistency. But if it's more cost effective, then, I guess it's fine, Because at the end of the day, they're just toys, right? I know that, like, collectors enjoy these, but, these are meant for children. And I think as long as they bring kids, joy, that's fine. As long as they bring us happiness. That's all that matters. And I think, we need to focus more on that, especially since we're nearing, 20 years since this franchise began. It's really hard to think about that. Like I'm recording this in late May, only at, like, a couple days before the big anniversary. It's just, like, you never stop and think about it until, like, just then. Okay, so, again, I think Kris Revstopski is a solid item. I really do hope they update her, though. Anyways, that's all I have for today. Hope you all enjoyed the review, and I shall see you all around. Bye-bye!